Hello, welcome to the Job Walk Podcast, an interview-styled mobile podcast where we go out into the field where the professionals are and share helpful information on buying, selling, remodeling, designing, or building your home. So join us for a job walk. Hi, we're here today with Robin Jakary, and she works with Mission West Builders as a project manager. Also picks out design selections for bathrooms, and we're going to talk about how to create a successful bathroom project. So welcome, Robin.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So first we want to just find out, what are your inside tips for having a successful remodel of a bathroom?
Well, first I would say the first thing you need to answer for yourself is, what are you solving for? Is it a functional update or change? Is it something for like age in place, where you're looking for someone who's aging, wants to stay in the home? Or is it just that your bathroom's ugly, you hate it, and you want to change it? So those are probably the first questions I would ask a client. And then the other big one is budget. And what are you looking to do?
So budget's always an interesting question, right? And it's almost like, what comes first, the design or the budget? It's the chicken and egg concept.
I would say budget is probably your overarching primary thing to think about, because you can design a $100,000 bathroom or you can design a $45,000 bathroom. So if you design outside of a budget, you will most likely design a space for yourself or the home you're in, or for somebody else that's not remotely in their budget.
So we were talking a little bit earlier, we talked sort of the different types of options you might have when you're rethinking your bathroom space. So we talked about, there's an update, a remodel, and an addition are kind of the three main ones that you focus on. Could you kind of walk us through a little bit, starting with what you consider an update of a bathroom versus a remodel and then an addition? Okay.
An update, I would say, is something we probably refer to as more of like a gut and replace. You're not really changing the major layout of the bathroom. You're not moving things around. It's just, it might be very outdated. The finishes are very outdated. It might be from when the original bathroom of the home. So you're just looking for new fixtures, new tile, new plumbing, just to bring it all up to date, but you're not doing anything major in terms of changing the layout.
So just kind of replacing what's already there with new materials and colors and things.
Exactly.
And that's probably the most economical of the ones that we're discussing,
because you're probably going to be updating some of the plumbing from underneath the sink and the tubs and things like that, because depending on the age of the bathroom, it could be rusted and old. You're not physically moving anything like sewer lines or plumbing. So it's probably the most economical update you can do.
So we're talking about faucets, like maybe a new vanity. What are some of the other components you would consider?
It would be new tile, faucets, new fixtures, new vanity. You could also paint a vanity depending on the quality of the vanity that you have. New countertop, paint, new flooring. So the footprint of your bathroom stays the same, but it all looks new and new finishes.
Got it. And so the next one's more of a remodel. And so what do you consider a remodel of a bathroom? What are the things you're looking at where it moves from just being a simple update to a remodel?
I would say a remodel is anything from an expansion to a layout change. So you're moving the tub, you're moving the shower, you may be adding a tub, gaining space from a closet next door. So those types of things would qualify as a remodel, where you're really moving the plumbing, doing some major reframing of the space, and changing the whole functional layout of the space.
So in your experience on all the bathrooms that you've worked with, what is in the remodel category, what are a couple of the things that are most impactful that you can do if your budget fits into the remodel bucket? Like what are the first things when you walk into a bathroom, you're thinking like, oh, if we could just do this, that would really change the way the bathroom functions?
One of the things that we actually did a couple times in the last 2 years was relocating a tub shower combo. So a bathroom was very narrow. It was an original bath to the house, and it had the tub shower combo either immediately on the right or the left when you walked in, and then the vanity immediately across from it. So it was a very tight, narrow space, and then the toilet at the end. So one of the things that we did in both those situations was to relocate the tub shower, push it back, and change the positioning of it against the back wall. So you have kind of taken that space, we added a window, and then you have all of a sudden all of this room between where the tub shower was and the vanity was is no longer a tight space. So it was within the same footprint of the bathroom, but a very relatively simple change that made a huge difference in terms of the functionality of the bathroom and the space of the bathroom.
So, and then you also mentioned, taking some space like out of an adjoining closet or something like
Right.
that. Is that relatively easy to do and something people should consider if they have a closet nearby?
Yes, often there are, depending on, especially with like hall bathrooms, there can be a linen closet in the hallway. There can be a bedroom closet on a wall adjoining the bathroom. And depending on the layout of those bedrooms, and if it's an extra closet or if it's a really big closet and you don't need all the space, a lot of times it is bonus space that you can grab, and really isn't that difficult to do. It can be that wall knocked out and just reframed and repurposed into the bathroom. And sometimes that can be a perfect alcove for a shower. It can be a perfect space for a vanity, and it can really give you some additional space that's sort of found and maybe not used. And we can find another place for the closet.
Because storage is always something people are looking for in a bathroom.
Storage
right?
is a huge thing in a bathroom. And oftentimes, depending on the size of the bathroom, a vanity can only hold so much. So if you can find additional storage in a bathroom by sometimes just taking a linen closet that was in a hallway and now making it come into the bathroom, taking that space, turning that into cabinetry for your bathroom. Some very simple updates that can really add a lot of storage and space.
And so you mentioned aging in place. So that brings to my mind like an accessible type bathroom. And what are some of the components that you would incorporate into a bathroom if you had a client that was saying, we're going to be living here for the next 30 years, or maybe somebody's moving in with them, a parent, or a situation like that where they need more accessibility. They need it, they don't want to step over a tub. The curb in a shower might be a challenge if someone has some kind of apparatus they need to help move around, that kind of thing. What are the components that when you go into a bathroom, they have to be important, grab bars, those kind of things?
The first thing that comes to mind is a curbless shower. So they have no threshold. So there's nothing to step over. There's no bathtub. So they are excellent in terms of aging in place. They allow a wheelchair to enter. They allow a walker. You can certainly put a bench in a shower. That's a very simple thing to do. So those can, and handheld shower heads. So they're just on a bar, so someone can easily sit in the shower and be able to take a shower. Pedestal sinks, again, depending on someone's accessibility. If they're in a wheelchair, a pedestal sink works great. We've also done vanities that instead of the two doors underneath the sink, they're not there. And the cabinetry is slanted so that you could have a chair in front of it with excellent clearance, or a wheelchair. And then you also just want to think of, if it is a wheelchair, that there's space to turn around in the bathroom. Even if it's a walker, that it's not a tight space, and that if you do a curbless shower, that it's pretty much of a straight shot that you can walk in there. And then toilets now, fortunately, they have them all what they call chair height. So they're about 21 inches. Fortunately, they're not a difficult thing to find anymore. They're pretty much the mainstay now. So it's even great for those of us who don't need that.
And then what about the aesthetic? So when I think of accessible bathtub, I immediately go to those infomercials with the big fiberglass tub and the door that opens and then, it fills with water. So talk to me about the aesthetics now with having more of an accessible.
Yeah, the aesthetics, honestly, you can do it very easily, not even know that it's an accessible bathroom. We've done one in the past year that was a curbless shower. It has a bench in it. It also has a sliding door. Think of a barn door concept, but with glass. All of it accessible. Fits a wheelchair to go through, can turn around, someone can sit on the bench, handheld shower. There was a regular shower head, but there was also a handheld shower on the side. But it's not anything you would do any different than maybe for someone who didn't need an accessible
Right.
shower. It was very up to date. It was very on trend, but it qualified with ADA requirements. The vanity in that shower also didn't have the cabinet doors, so it was at an angle underneath so that you could sit in front of it. That was probably the only thing that would look a little bit different. But again, it was, a white shaker vanity, a beautiful quartz top, single hole faucet. Nothing else looked like an accessible bathroom. Grab bars have come a long way. They look really nice. So in many instances with a handheld shower, they're already mounted onto a slide bar so that the shower head can slide up and down. That can also function as a grab bar. So it not only looks good and it's functional for the shower head, but it can function as a grab bar at the same point in
So
time.
that's something when people are updating the bathroom, they should definitely be asking themselves
Absolutely.
in terms of just to make the project last longer and maybe appeal to more people.
Absolutely.
So the last one we were talking about was an addition. So we talked about update, remodel, and then a bathroom addition. What would you sort of what moves something into an addition category as opposed to just being a remodel?
So an addition category is definitely when you're adding the square footage of a new bathroom to your home. So you might have a primary bedroom, but it's not an ensuite, so you want to add that. So it's adding new square footage, whether it be for a bedroom or somewhere else in the home, or maybe in a garage.
And that's going to be the most expensive out of the three things we're talking about.
Correct,
right?
because you're going to have to account for, you're going to need architectural drawings for that. There will be, framing in addition to the house. It's going to have to work with your roof line, and a new foundation. So that would definitely be on the higher end of more expensive.
And is the plumbing a big part of that cost equation in terms of hooking into the
Always.
sewer? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're having to hook into the sewer line, and you're having to run all new plumbing from your existing home into
And
the
then,
addition.
So what is the process? So obviously you want to find someone. I mean, should people look at pictures? How would you advise people to start off the process? They have a bathroom. It needs some love and care. Where should someone start? Should they just look online? Should they watch HGTV? Should they ask friends? What do you recommend?
So I think the first thing is to just do your own research on what you like and look at bathrooms. Just go to open houses. Go to friends who've had a bathroom remodel or a home remodel. Look on Pinterest, look on Houzz, look anywhere you can think when you're thinking about your bathroom. Now, before that, back to our original conversation, is what are you solving for? So is it functional? Is it an age in place, or is it your bathroom just 1975 and you want to update it? So that's your first question that we talked about. And then after that, just do the research on what do you like and what appeals to you. So you at least have an idea when you actually start talking to somebody about what you're looking to do.
And since the budget is such an important part,
Right.
what you decide to do, how should you work on figuring that out? Should you just, you have a certain amount of money you want to spend, or should you have a couple of different ideas? So, what can we get for 15,000? What can we get for 45? What can we get for 150? Or do I need to get a loan? Or how would you start sort of putting that budget concept together?
Part of it is the research, and that's where I would start asking people that. I mean, again, kind of the first pieces of it, start asking people, anyone you know who's done anything like that, and if they're willing to tell you how much it cost so that you can look at it and say, and because I think the most important thing is to just level set your budget. I think that some people think it's in many instances less expensive than it is. Plumbing is very expensive. Fixtures are very expensive. As we've all heard over the last several years, things have just gotten more expensive. So any information that you can just educate yourself on. So that's one thing I would do, was just ask around. And then engage with some professionals that you may know, or as you start thinking about a realistic budget or a budget for yourself, if you have referrals of people who've used a contractor, to start talking to somebody about what is it, if I just want to gut and replace, if I want to remodel, if I want to move this, what's a ballpark figure? Because I think that is so important, because what you have in mind may not equal your budget. And then your budget might be more than realistic, and you realize, oh, I'm great. I can do exactly what I want, and maybe I can even do a little bit more. So I think information is empowering, and that is probably one of the first things I would say, just asking people and doing your research.
Well, and I think having the information that we discussed today, like an update versus a remodel versus an addition, can really be helpful when you're having those conversations with a professional, I'm assuming.
Right. And there's certain things like, is your house a raised foundation or is it a slab foundation? Because to move the plumbing on a raised foundation is easier than moving the plumbing in a slab foundation. It's still still more costly, but you can access the plumbing and route it underneath versus jackhammering through your foundation. Right. So those are some simple questions that you can kind of figure out for yourself as you do the research on the complexity of what you're wanting to do.
Okay, and then we just have a little bit of time left, but I'm just curious, what is the strangest bathroom or weirdest thing you've run into in doing a remodel?
Wow, I'm trying to think.
Or oddest request. So I remember talking to someone who had a project, and they opened up a wall and they found like a family of skunks.
Oh, right.
Or I was walking through, you talked about going through open houses and know, the pink tubs,
right,
or the black tubs, or, blue or whatever. Have you ever just gone into a bathroom and just been like,
I've seen bathrooms where I've probably questioned, and it might be more in things that I've looked online, right, or like model homes that I've seen, and I'm thinking that's a real commitment on what you've chosen for a tile,
right?
That it either hurts my eyes or is it going to be outdated in the next year or two,
right?
So I think those are some of the things that you have to think about. I mean, when someone's remodeling their bathroom, they can really do whatever they want if they're paying for it. But I think it's always really important to think about longevity of what you're doing. Always try to keep resale in mind, in the sense of you may plan to stay in that home forever, but you just never know what's going to happen 10 years from now. And you might decide that you don't want to be there. So as you're making these updates, certainly make them for yourself and that you like, but also make them so that they might not be so specific that someone else wouldn't want that choice.
Or you have to redo it,
or that you have to redo it
soon,
because that's the last thing you want to do when you're potentially leaving a home.
Right.
You've already got a lot on your plate. So
that's great advice.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up today with Robin. I just want to thank you a lot. If someone wants to get in touch with you, could you share your email with us?
Sure. My email is Robin with an I at missionwestbuilders.com.
Great. Thanks so much.